There it is. We're live. Live with Joel.
Unleashing the warrior within. A journey through MMA and fitness. Welcome, warriors and fitness enthusiasts, to the show called One Step. Let's talk about the journey. Today we have a special guest, an extraordinary MMA and fitness trainer from the academy called Brave MMA and Fitness. And I do hope I got the pronunciation correct, but I'll get correction as time goes by. Now, this individual has dedicated his life to shaping both minds and bodies. You don't want to miss this, my people. Join us as we dive into the story behind the warrior, the man on a mission, I say. I'm your host, Joel Bennett, and I just want to formally welcome everyone. Now, our guest today is none other than the man, the myth, the legend, known as Kenny Bhullar. And I did kind of do a little bit of research, and I found out the meaning behind his name. It's actually the Prince of Bravery, and I find that phenomenally interesting. A seasoned MMA and fitness trainer, Kenny is also a podcast host, and it is called The Second Floor. And don't use the word, put in the number. Second Floor. Welcome, Kenny. Let's kick things off with some enlightenment, because we want to learn a little bit about Kenny's origin story. And so I'm going to pass the mic over to Kenny, my favorite phase, and have him share with us how his journey started and what kind of inspired him to get on this path. Because I tell you what, I find that it's a very, very, very interesting path. And I'm here to learn. I'm here to be encouraged. Because I said this to him before we started just now. I said, Kenny, you know what? I kind of feel like we are somewhat like-minded. And here's the other thing. This part I never really said to him. I personally believe in destiny. I believe in faith. And so I believe that there is a reason why our path has now decided, that destiny has decided to converge our path. And so I'm here just wondering, what is here for me to learn? And so my brain, everything is turned on right now. Everything is on high rev. And because I know that this person has a lot to offer. And so it's time I be quiet and say, Kenny, tell us about yourself, my brother.
Wow, I mean, man, like, I feel like I need you at any event I go to and get introduced. That was a very kind introduction. I feel like while you were saying that, I felt like some mythical god. So thank you for the hype, Joel. I really appreciate you sharing that. And,
You're welcome.
You know, to have the opportunity to come on, you know, One Step podcast and be able to share, you know, the steps I took to be here sitting.
All ties in, eh?
Big time, man. And I mean, without further ado, I could kind of dive right into, you know, what made me get into this, you know, field of being a martial artist, and now having the, you know, gracious opportunity to coach the next generation and show people the value of what it's like having martial arts part of your life.
Yeah.
You know, I was 9 years old. That was really when it all began, when I just had an abundance of energy. My parents were, you know, unbeknownst to them, they didn't know what ADHD really means. Yeah. They, you know, would have me come back home from school and I get kicked out of class at various times from just wanting to talk when I shouldn't be talking, entertain when I shouldn't be entertaining, you know, and they were just like, okay, like, he clearly has a lot of energy.
Yeah.
At that time, you know, we'd go to the doctor and they were like, listen, like, what can we do to channel his energy? We don't want to go the prescribed medication route. We don't want to go.
Thank God.
Yeah, you know, and that's a whole other rabbit hole. And it was just more so like, what can we do to fuel his so-called excess energy? And they were like, put him in sports, put him in an activity, make sure he's moving his body. They were saying all the right things.
Yeah.
And with sports, I wasn't even good at those, you know? So, you know, here we are in a corner when my dad was flipping through the newspaper, our community newspaper at that time, and there was a Taekwondo dojo opening up in a community league.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, "Oh, son, look, it says martial art, learn how to protect yourself and learn discipline.
Yeah.
You need these two things." And right then and there, I was on board. I was like, that'd be awesome, right? I mean, every kid that was watching Dragon Ball Z at the time, and playing Tekken and Street Fighter and all these, kick-ass fighting
Mortal
video games.
Kombat.
Yeah, right? I was like, if I could be anything like that, let's do it.
Yeah.
And right then and there, I was one of the first students enrolled in the Taekwondo program.
Yeah.
And I was hooked. I went every day I could. I, worked my way up to doing Taekwondo for 4 years, got my junior black belt at the time, and then got into assistant coaching right away. Halfway through my journey, I was teaching the kids classes. I was even teaching some of the adults. So very early on, I got exposed to not only what it's like to, learn martial arts and feel the sense of confidence you get when you know how to protect yourself, but I was also exposed to immediately teaching other people.
Yeah.
So I feel like this title called coach was something I was always exposed to. I was always drawn towards wanting to become in some essence. And along the way, as I was figuring out life into adulthood, going to college, finishing grade school before that, then navigating adulthood through finding a job and a title that I feel like society would accept me for. The one thing along the way where I was figuring out life, the thing I never stopped doing was training martial arts.
Yeah.
Going into mixed martial arts, exposing myself in fighting in a cage, in being alongside my brother, who's still actively a professional MMA fighter.
Yeah. What's his name, Kenny?
It's KB Bhullar. So his fight nickname is the Bengal.
Okay.
He's really well known as that, and he's fought around the world. He's fought for large organizations such as the UFC, and I've been able to be there by his side to see that unfold. For my personal journey, I recognize that when I pivoted to jiu-jitsu, that was something where upon my jaw breaking and getting exposed to the brutality of what the sport brings, I knew that if I took the risk of going into the cage again and hurting myself that way, I would never be able to influence and coach and perhaps be there for people the way I wanted to.
Yeah.
And I think naturally through your 20s, you go through those moments of enlightenment where you start asking yourself truly why you want to do certain things. Yeah. And I feel like my purpose of fighting, to influence others, I recognize I didn't have to fight in a cage to do that. Yeah. For me, I can actually take a component of MMA, which is jiu-jitsu, which was my biggest weakness at the time, and turn that into my biggest strength. And when it became my only option and I knew it wasn't worth hurting myself again, I went all in to one thing. So, as I'm trying to grab, so many different pieces of the puzzle about, where I landed today, to summarize, I'm just really glad that I started something at such a young age. I found that I loved it. And I told myself, no matter what, career or not, you're going to do this for your mental health. You're going to do this for your physical health, because you see the benefits of what it does for you, from a social perspective, from a mental perspective, and a physical perspective. And, that is how kind of brave with my brother, it came about, because we both have things to offer to our students now. And we both have such a, unique experience, unique journeys that have kind of led us to this. I don't want to call it a final destination, because there's so much more that we look forward to doing, but this destination now where we're now kind of side by side again. We started together, our journeys kind of went two different paths, and now we're taking those paths and merging them into what beyond this will look like.
Can I just add something, Kenny? I'm gonna tell you what my belief is. There is nothing more rewarding than when you can contribute something positive, something life-changing to another human being. So shout out to all doctors, to our military personnel, police officers, teachers, nurses. Like the list goes on and on and on, because My belief is we were all put here to contribute to others in some way or the other. And I feel like that the path that you chose, I mean, it's your journey. Only you can see what others can't see. But of course, you've been sharing that journey with everyone. But might I say that the path that you have taken is the reward that come with it. It's going to be life-changing for everybody that crosses your path. And I see that you've built your own school, your own academy for Brave MMA and fitness. And man, I need to stop by one day just to see it for myself. I've been watching the videos on social media, but when I hear your story and your testimonies, it's a thrilling feeling, my brother. Let me just say that. So if I'm sure that you have gotten the compliments and all already, but I'm taking my time to hand you your rose too as well, because you're changing lives. You're changing lives. You're changing minds. You're changing outlooks. You're changing the status quo, because I bet for others, their expectation of you might have been different in the beginning. And I'm sure that everyone wasn't on board when you just started, which is expected, because it's really hard to share a dream with someone and expect that they're going to feel the same way like you, because it's yours, it's not theirs.
That feeling of doubt
Yes.
can always be there, right? And I'm glad you mentioned that, Joel, because it's a sense of pride that you always want to carry, where you
Yes.
feel like you need other people's approval. And I find for people listening to this, you have to, you gotta throw that away.
How do you get over that hump though, Kenny?
Well, I mean, you do have to do a little bit of self-reflection.
Yeah.
And what better time now than when this is being recorded, where it's the end of the year.
Yeah.
But you have to, it's so cliche to say, but when you tell yourself you have to believe in yourself, you kind of have to look outwardly and go, what I want to learn from me.
Yes.
Like, wait a second. Let me go back to when I was a white belt, when I knew nothing.
Yeah.
I think that's a really important thing, is sometimes we're only comparing ourselves to other people at our level.
Yeah.
And now in this social media driven world, I'll give you prime personal examples. I can't help still to look at people at my level and see the world level accolades they are achieving.
Yeah.
You know, winning world champion level jiu-jitsu competitions, which I'm still yet to accomplish. And I look at that and it doesn't exist, but I personally felt like I made it a prerequisite before Brave existed,
Yes.
that I have to achieve that in order to have other people approve of my ability to teach them.
Yeah.
Who am I thinking of though? I'm only really thinking of the people that have made it as far as me.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking of the Joe Schmo that really wants to learn jiu-jitsu from someone that can just teach it in a way that will help them make sense of it. And when you put it that way, Joel, when you really kind of go back to when you first started your journey,
Yes.
let's face it, you're willing to learn from anyone
Yes.
that, number one, makes you feel comfortable. Number two, knows enough.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying you're just going to accept, oh, I found another blue belt. Here's someone I'll call my coach. I mean, let's face it, there has to be some degree of time and energy this person has put and still puts into the sport that they're teaching you. But I mean, when I look back at some of my coaches that I really admired, the first things that came to mind were never, oh, he's done XYZ. It was never like, I'm with you because of what you've achieved. It was more so, I'm with you because of the environment you're creating. I'm with you because of how you genuinely care about my progress. Yeah. And now when I wear the coach's hat full time, you know, I really think about these things, the do's and don'ts. Yeah. And I love that type of conversation, going back to your point about like, sometimes there's just so much of what someone's going to say to themselves that prevents them from ever starting. Yeah. And it's sad because that's just based off of what you think other people will think about you. And the funny thing is, a lot of people, they don't care. Yeah. Like, let's face it. Like, I think we put too much like stock in what are people going to think if I post this?
They're probably even thinking about you.
Yeah, the moment they see it, they're done. They're on to the next story. Like people's attention span in this day and age doesn't even like factor in. And then if even they do care, at the end of the day, you know your worth more than anybody else in this world.
And that's when we blow the big trumpet and say self-confidence goes a long way. Man, Kenny. All right. Let's get to the meat. Let's get into the meat. Kenny, what brings out the best in you, my brother?
Oh, man.
Because, and so while you're thinking of that, the reason why I ask this question is we all need that thing about us that flicks the switch. You know, when you jump into your turbocharged vehicle, you all have watched Fast and the Furious. And when they hit the NAS button just to get that additional push, it's not that you're close to the finishing line, because where our journey is concerned, I don't want a finishing line. I'm not thinking about a finishing line right now. I'm thinking about the curves, the hills, the valleys, the obstacles that I need to make some quick dodge around. We need that thing that brings out the best in us. It could be a family member. It could be a memory. It could be our parents. It could be anything. And so when I ask, what brings out the best in you? What I'm asking is, what is your NAS button? What is it that you need to kind of to just get you going some days? Because the fact is that we're human beings. And I mean, there will be days when we're just strung out on, we're just overwhelmed. But when we think about this one thing, you know, it gets us going. For me, it is, I just want to find my purpose. And so when I get bogged down with just life in general, failures and disappointment, and might I say this, welcome failure. Because it is in those moments, those situations when things don't work out, and I feel like we learn the most about ourselves.
Yeah.
So then when I say to myself that every time I get disappointed, I get bogged down, there is this one thing that I just put a little focus on. Take like a few minutes to just sit back and just think about what it is that I want to accomplish before I exit this life. Because you have to embrace the fact that that day will come one day. But I need to fulfill my purpose. And so when I think about what it is that I want to accomplish in this life, I get up and I just make my one step, shout out to one step, and I just keep going. So for you, Kenny, I'm asking, what brings out the best in you that kind of flick that NAS switch, NAS button going, just to get you going?
As you're talking and asking that question, I think the biggest thing that comes to mind is what brings out the best in me would be every day that we wake up is a day in which we have the opportunity to excel and get better and be better at all the things that we care so deeply about. And that's the people in our life that we love. That's the careers in which we've chosen to embark in that will lead to some sort of substantial difference in other people's lives. So I'll tell you what, I want to frame it in this way so it makes sense. Let's say you knew that on Wednesday of this week, it's going to be the final day that you'll live on this earth, right? How much would you be willing to, let's say, give or do to live an extra day?
Gosh, how much would I give just to live an extra day? That's a tough question. Because the thing is, when you think about making a sacrifice, because that's pretty much what that's going to be, because you have to sacrifice something just to live to see tomorrow. I'm thinking of the smallest thing, but yet the expectation. Is there an expectation? Is there an expectation like you need to give something that is absolutely important to you before you can see another day? Because if there's no criteria to that, then I'll probably give up my smartphone.
Knowing how important it is.
You know what I mean? So It depends on what the criteria is for that.
Well, let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
Like, how willing
Yeah.
would you be to be like, hey, so
I'll give anything.
like, there you go, right?
I'll give anything.
Perfect. So beyond the cell phone, like you
Yeah.
you would be like, well, to live another day.
Yeah.
Now you're starting to thinking of, well, why would I want to, right? Well, the people in your life, the things that you do, right? You're still wanting to get more juice
Yes.
out of life.
Yeah.
So now here's the thing: is because we don't know when
Yeah.
we'll leave this earth.
Mhm.
I find not everyone, but to some degree, we're that much more willing to let a day
Yeah.
pass by and not do anything with it because we feel like to some degree we're guaranteed tomorrow.
Yes.
So what brings out the best in me
Yeah.
is feeling like tomorrow is never guaranteed.
Yeah.
You know, how I live my life is not to this extreme of like today's my last day,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
But I mean, if you can kind of look into what I'm saying
Yeah.
and recognize like if I can move the needle forward,
Yeah.
even 0.01%. If I made a conscious decision today to make it aware to my partner, my girlfriend, you
Yeah.
know, how much I love her,
Yeah.
and make it aware to my family that hey, like I'm here for you. Like there's something I did or there's
Yeah.
something like I'm doing to make that clear. Now with my work, if I just chose to make a small step, you know,
Yeah.
based off your podcast,
Short out to one
that
step.
that if I didn't make this step,
Yeah.
nothing would advance, you
Yeah.
know. So what really like helps me is recognizing that if I'm gonna wake up today,
Yeah.
there's something I have to do with it,
Yeah.
right? And that's where I kind of look at the non-negotiables for me,
Yeah.
which is what makes me fully function in all the things I do in my life.
So in other words,
You
you
know?
think that tomorrow might not happen.
Yeah, it's not guaranteed.
And so you're always thinking about how much you can capitalize on today. You know, not many people think about that. I wonder if we know that tomorrow is not promised. I wonder if we know that if when we step out the door to go to work, to go to school, to go wherever, we might not make it back home.
Yeah.
So is that the kind of mindset you have, Kenny? Like each time you get up, each time you wake up, you're thinking that tomorrow might not happen and you need to make the best of today?
Oh yeah. Like I like to live that way
Yeah.
because then it makes me feel like, I don't know. I like to, this is kind of a an unorthodox example, but
Yeah. Give it, man. Give it.
you know when you got, for maybe college students listening to this,
Yeah.
you got that assignment due,
Yeah.
you got 2 months
Yeah.
to prepare for it. You don't bother to
feel
write
like-
the paper, look at it or prepare
Yeah.
until the final day prior.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now for some reason, because you feel like you got a
Yeah,
fire
yeah.
cooking under your ass,
Yeah. Yeah.
like if you don't submit this tomorrow, you're getting a big fat F.
Yeah.
But for some reason, when like last minute
Yeah.
you get supercharged by this like
Yeah.
this feeling of I got to get this done, and that's where all the creative juices start flowing.
Yeah, yeah.
That's like me with my ideas
I see.
to
I
some
see.
degree,
I
right?
see.
Like whenever I'm preparing for something,
Yeah.
very last minute things
Yeah.
come into action.
Oh, yeah.
So now you could kind of maybe make sense of this idea.
Oh, yeah.
Where if I feel like I only got till tomorrow
Yeah.
to figure this
perfect.
out, how I show up
Yeah.
is just on another level because I'm putting the fire under my ass.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now when you think about it from like a competitive perspective,
Yeah.
I need to set the date. I need
Yeah.
to know when I'm competing next.
Yeah.
Right? I need to have an idea because
Yeah.
not only does that prepare me way more, but it makes me feel like everything I'm going to be doing is for that day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So it's just the one thing
Yeah.
at a time that's leading to something. Because how can I shoot
Yeah.
when there's no target
Yeah. Yeah.
to shoot at?
Yeah.
You know, like if I'm playing darts, I need
Yeah.
to be throwing it at a target.
Yeah.
And that's where for me, like kind of like going from that macro example to
Yeah.
micro, like I need to be waking up and knowing what it's all headed to.
So pretty much your eyes is always on the prize. You know, I went to university with a lot of students, even in high school too. A lot of friends that, and I never really got it. I see it, I've observed it. There are people, individuals, who they can't study months before an exam. They have to wait like maybe a day or two before to hit the books, high rev. And maybe some would say it's because these individuals have better short-term memory than they do of long-term memory. But on the other sense, the flip is also true for focus, your focus is always on the prize. So you're not thinking about, oh, next year, next month. You're looking at the target always in terms of what you want to accomplish, maybe in your classroom with your the guys that you're training with and so forth. Your focus is always on learning this, developing this, accomplishing this, and it's just always a whiff away from you. That's awesome, man. That is truly awesome. So in terms of fitness, Kenny, let's get into the business of Kenny. Is there any real recipe for let's say getting in shape? Because a lot of people need I've struggled with this.
Yes.
Where fitness and health is concerned. So is there any real recipe?
There is, yep.
Yeah.
So this is the way I would look at it.
Yeah.
If we can put it into a nice equation,
Mm-hmm.
is simple math. It's an addition. Number one, it would be, thank you, by the way.
Yeah, you're welcome, man.
See, Joel's keeping me hydrated.
I have to.
The real recipe to staying in shape and living a long-lasting, healthy life.
Yeah.
Number one, sleep, right?
Yeah.
However many hours of sleep, everyone's different,
Yeah.
right? Not everyone needs 8 hours.
Okay, how much hours you need? Let's put you on the sacrificial table here.
Oh, I need 8.
You need 8.
I need 8. I need minimum 7.
Okay. Yeah.
At 6, you're going to notice a slight decline
Yeah.
in my productivity and energy.
You guys hear that?
Yeah, right?
He's not performing well today. I wonder why.
Exactly, right? But like a part of that is like knowing how much sleep you need.
Yeah.
Right? So sleep plus move your body. That's what I'm going to call it that. I'm not going to call it workout. I'm not going to call it fitness. Let's just break it down to you need to move.
Yes.
Right? Everyone's different.
Get out of that couch.
Yeah, and just move. Like maybe it's you playing pickleball with your friends every single day. Maybe it's you're walking your dog for 30 to 60 minutes a day.
Yeah.
And then in the evenings you do your yoga. Doesn't matter. Whatever it is you're interested in, move your body. The next part is put naturally sourced food in your body.
Kenny, you know I'm going to ask you what is that, right?
Naturally sourced is when you look on the scale of food, you got to kind of look at whatever it is you're eating. Give you a prime example. Let's just say I'm at the grocery store. I'm on I'm on aisle 8 and I'm looking at the column in front of me. If I'm looking at something that's boxed and I look at the ingredients that come with it and I see all sorts of words that I don't even know, well, there's your answer. That is not the most naturally sourced food item that you should be eating. When this food item can be boxed and can be sitting in your pantry for 60 to 90 days on end, and you could just open it up and eat it. Okay. So I'm not trying to say if you're eating that, you're a bad person and that you shouldn't be eating it at all. Sometimes we're in circumstances where we need a quick snack. However, I am going to tell you, majority of what you're putting in your body, pay attention to it. Right? And food that's naturally sourced. Oh, look, berries. Great. This is going to expire in 2 weeks if I don't eat it because it just came, from, let's just say, the Himalayan mountains. And it's been naturally picked from a farmer and it's been shipped out here. Great. What are the ingredients? Berries. Like, that's it. Picked and homegrown. That is fuel.
Nothing
that is a fantastic natural carbohydrate to put in your body, right? So I get nerd out over that, but I think people can understand and do a little bit of research and be like, oh, okay, naturally sourced. Fantastic. As long as it's something that is like made from this earth or made from, an animal and it's something that like doesn't have extra preservatives that are added to it, right? So we talked about sleep, we talked about moving your body, we talked about nutrition, right? And the next thing is, of course, hydration, right? So these are the 4 elements that you need to pay attention to be able to be fit.
So you don't eat meat, Kenny?
Oh, I eat meat,
So
I love my meat.
So is there any recommended do's and don'ts for meat?
Oh, I'd say so. Yeah, like, you know what? I'm a big fan of red meat, right? I find there's a lot of false narratives out there associated with carnivorous diets giving you cancer, right? Like you see a lot of people in this day and age now who've been eating red meat for years, and there's no issues with them. also recognizing that everyone has different body types and certain
Yeah.
foods can give people a different response,
Yeah.
right? So we have to be very careful with this topic. I am no
Yeah.
nutrition expert.
Of course, we're not. Neither of us
but
are.
at the end of the day, I would say that like you just have to know what is good for your body.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't mind eating red meat. I don't mind whole chicken breast.
Yeah.
Right.
Love my chicken.
Yeah, it's good, man. Salmon, fantastic.
Yeah.
Right. Like those are just three types of meats that I'm constantly rotating and eating on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah.
Right. And I seem to be fueled accordingly. Right.
What about supplements? You have any advice on supplements?
Oh yeah, supplements is great because like here's the funny thing about this topic of supplements is supplements is supposed to supplement.
Yeah, what you don't eat. Yeah.
Yeah, right. But let's be careful with that, right?
Yeah.
Is you have to start asking yourself like, I look at supplementation as an addition to, not a replacement, an addition
of
to.
Course.
Right? If I'm having a supplement, well, once again, I'm going to ask myself, I'm going to have an omega-3 vitamin.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, first thing I'm going to ask myself is, well, am I eating eggs? Right? And once again, this is for people who perhaps are not just like if you're vegetarian, I totally get this is a different conversation.
Of course.
For those that are willing to eat meat and put dairy products in their body.
Yeah.
Well, why am I not getting my eggs in my body? Why am I not willing to have fish?
Yeah.
Right? Like let's look at omega-3 fatty acids inside of naturally sourced products, right? So then maybe, okay, I could only have a little bit or I'm having none.
Yeah.
Now it's a great opportunity to supplement and have an omega-3 vitamin, right? So yes, there are times where you should be taking supplements and there's times where you don't need it until you've fueled yourself with the naturally sourced groups of food. I'll give you a great example. I'll have clients, once they sign up, the first thing they do is, okay, I'm thinking about going to the supplement store. What do I need?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you know what? Let's revisit that maybe in like month 2. Let's talk about your water intake right now.
Yeah.
Right? Let's talk about what you're putting in your body.
Yeah.
This week, record and tell me what you're doing. Don't be shy. Record everything. Take a photo of everything you're eating.
Yeah.
Let's just start to see what you're currently consuming. Right? And then let's see what you're willing to add and willing to subtract. Then we could talk about supplements.
Yeah.
It's just we're living in this world where supplements seem to be a quick, easy fix.
Yeah.
Right? Take this pill, take it with my water, take it once a day, easy.
Yeah.
But we have to also respect, like, what about just getting those nutrients from the food in which I'm eating, right? Because food is fuel.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Like, if we looked at food less as, oh, I'm so hungry, I desire something that's gonna like taste so good, and it's like, well, you know, my car doesn't go to the gas station and gets picky about like, like it's like it knows what type of gas it needs to get it to A to Z. If you treat your body in that same fashion, where some food, don't get me wrong, like indulgence day, cheat day, like let's go, let's eat, let's enjoy. But also like I have to treat my food and the way I'm eating it like this is what's gonna get me through my day.
Yeah.
And for me as an athlete and a coach who's moving, talking,
Yeah.
all day, like that is even more important to hone in on.
The reality, hard to speak about, but very true. The reality is, Ken, the generation is changing. The mindset is changing. People are changing. And not all changes are good. So let me just hurriedly get to my point. People are not cooking like they used to. People are not farming or like they used to. Everything is quick. Everything is fast. And to be fair, people are more busier, you know that, than anything else. Because people, it's more like, yes, human beings are becoming more driven for stuff and for things and for career and for education. The home is not the same anymore. So when I talk about supplements, and I know this is not really the easiest topic, is that the pharmaceutical industry knows this is happening. Like farmers are not making what they used to anymore. And as a matter of fact, what they need to do that is so expensive that it's almost like even these natural grown produce are probably becoming a thing of the past. And I'm not saying it's happening right now. but I'm not. But what I'm saying, it's inevitable. Everything is being grown, made, produced in a lab, and so I know that for myself, that I'm not going to get all the protein, the vitamins, I should say, all the nourishments that I should get from food. I know I'm not going to get that anymore because of just how fast-paced things are and how things are changing. And so I am looking for, probably me and others out there or not, I'm looking for the best supplement. And so I make sure I have my D, I make sure I have my omega-3, I make sure I'm getting my potassium, my magnesium, and all those necessary things that I need, that my body needs to keep me around. Remember, the plan is to stay around, stick around as long as we can to accomplish what we want to accomplish. And so it's kind of tough to see that what I should be getting from the ground is what I should be focused on. God, I wish. I'm no longer in Jamaica, man.
Yeah.
I can't jump next door over Farmer John's yard and say, hey, bro, can I get some plantains and bananas and yam and all the stuff that we would consume? Because Jamaican people, they're healthy. Let me just say that. They're healthy because
fresh coconuts growing from the tree.
There you go.
Like, can you just give me one? Right? Like,
there you go. You need an apple. You need a real juicy apple. Grab that, buddy.
It's so true, man.
So, because I know that personally for me, I've lost that advantage. I'm being honest. Being honest. I've lost that advantage of having the natural, real stuff from the ground. And so I have to change my game plan now, because when I just came to Canada, I struggled. My body struggled. Like literally struggled. And so I had to go find stuff, import stuff, put stuff in my cabinet that I know I'm not going to get from the food. Wow. And because I'm also a very health conscious individual, I make sure I have the necessary supplements that I need just to sustain me. I wish I could be getting all the callaloo and the cabbage and the fresh tomatoes and onion and garlic and cook up some stuff in my kitchen. Dude, half the time when I'm not at work, I'm studying, I'm reading a book, or I'm running some errands. And I'm not saying I don't make time to cook, because the kitchen is still one of my place to be. Well, but I guess I just wanted to throw that in.
No, I'm glad you did, man. Well, luckily, like being that we're recording this and live in Edmonton, there's a lot of, I don't know if you're aware of this, but a lot of exciting farmer markets that happen seasonally in our city that I just feel like deserve more attention.
I recently discovered that, Kenny. I'm admitting it. That's
fair.
I just discovered that.
Yeah. So for someone in your shoes, definitely worth like exploring, because I wish these things were just more put on the forefront of our attention, right?
Yes, marketed,
right. And now, speaking of marketing, this is crazy with everything that you said. Is it's sad that like we're very easily fooled, right? Like my marketing and sales background, it makes me believe this. Easily. And I'll give you an example, right? This is going on our supplement topic here. Is I may not get these terms right, but I want people to understand where I'm coming from. Let's just say you see a supplement, right? And this happens a lot. You see it and you go, oh, you know what? I'm lacking energy. You know, I need that. And we're going to pick apart that word energy. And you see a supplement and it says, increase your energy. Right? Now, the scary thing is, whether it's, let's just say this is the term thing where I might not get it accurate, is it FDA approval or some level of approval from our health regulation goes in a meeting and they go, guys, the word energy, can we use that as a buzzword or can we not? And then majority of the hands go, you know what? It's okay. We'll let this one slide. And then the marketing and sales component of this brand goes, we can use it. Let's use and abuse it. Let's put it on the forefront of this product. And it's like, here's XYZ supplement, increase your energy. And with what people are lacking, they look at that and go, that's what I need. I'm just going to take this. Right? And it gets sold off the charts. It's going well. But then now we're not, once again, paying attention to what is in this that's giving me that. Right? And to your point, if we're lacking the resources and knowledge of getting energy from the food groups and the things that can give us that, now we're taking something where we have no idea what we're putting in our body. It may give us energy, but it's coming with a lot more side effects. And like this is something that happens even with some prescribed medications for people. And that's as far as I want to go into it. But like, it's just so important for people to recognize, like, man, like, back to the equation. Like, ask yourself, how's my sleep? How's my diet? Am I moving my body? Am I drinking water?
Yeah.
And we like to go, you know what? I'm too busy. I can't get enough sleep.
Yeah.
I'm too busy. I need to grind out my career so I could get that promotion. Water, I don't got time for water. I got my coffee. And it's like, it's this never-ending cycle of, what if we just started with those 4 things?
Right? Give me the pill, man. I need the pill.
Yeah, give me the one that says more energy, right? And that's what was crazy is like, I really like vibed with this man when like I was watching the Oxycontin documentaries on Instagram. And Painkiller. Yeah. I think there was 2 that was out. I watched one of them. I forget the name, but I was just like, man, like
crazy.
We're guinea pigs, man.
We are
guinea pigs.
We've been that way for years, man.
Right? And now imagine when people like, I have these conversations sometimes with my loved ones, and it's like, some people, they don't have the parents. They don't have the guidance of, let's just say, the people to kind of show them the way. So it's very easy for people to get manipulated. You know? It's crazy, man.
All right, Kenny, your journey, I'm sure, is undoubtedly, your journey has some challenges, sir. What have those challenges been like for you, and how did you overcome them? Let's get into the meat of the matter in terms of the business side, just developing from the ground up, that is. Like, what have been some of your challenges?
Yeah, challenges. There's so many. I find that challenges that come with what, you know, we do with Brave MMA and fitness would be, I'll tell you currently the challenge. It's currently what I'm sitting with is, when you want to position yourself as a one-stop shop in the fitness industry, you have to be patient enough and strategic enough to know that you got to build it one phase at a time. Right? I'll give you an idea. For those that aren't aware of a Brave MMA and fitness, it is a multifaceted academy of learning martial arts coincided with enhancing your overall flexibility and increasing your strength. Okay, that's the elevator pitch. Okay, so what does that mean? That means that at Brave, you have boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu. Okay, that's the martial arts aspect. Eventually MMA specific classes. Okay, well now that's not just us. That is Brave MMA. Now I'm going to tell you why we still keep, and we'll say, and fitness. Because now for the general population, I understand, Joel, that as much as I want everyone to learn martial arts in a safe and inclusive environment, not everyone will be interested. Maybe at first they will, but then they do it for a long enough period of time and it just doesn't end up being for them. So I accept that. I'm willing to accept that everyone has different ways, back to my point, of wanting to move their body. Okay. So they try the boxing, they try the jiu-jitsu, they do all that. Well, now I wholeheartedly believe that even as a martial artist, that should not be the only way you move your body. You also need, as you age, you need to strengthen your joints and your tendons, and you need to improve your overall flexibility. You want to play with your grandkids and you want to be able to hold a squat without pain? Well, you need to do mobility. You need to do yoga, right? You as an athlete want to kick higher, right? You want to be able to get in positions in jiu-jitsu and not get submitted so easily. You need to do mobility. So that's why we offer that. Now, the strength. If you're stronger, you can last longer. If you're stronger, you can do things that, you know, in everyday life and as an athlete just become easier for you, right? And once again, you're also on the trajectory of being pain-free. So here we are creating this holistic training model where we believe from our experience that you need all components to be a successful athlete, but also to create more longevity in your life as a human. So back to your question, what's the challenge? Well, how do I get that message out there? Right? I am going not only against the grain of people's attention spans, but I'm also recognizing that everything we offer isn't for everyone, but one thing is for someone. That's my logic behind it.
It really is.
Right? There is something we offer. I can guarantee you, whether you're 4 years old or 75, along that line and even older, we will have something for you.
Yeah.
Now, I take my experience at Good Life and I'm doing my best now to replicate that in an environment where martial arts, a combat sport,
Yes.
an aggressive, scary, and intimidating sport looking from the outside in, is on the forefront of our business model.
Yeah.
So how can I continue, my brother and I, to facilitate a family-friendly environment with this many services? And let me tell you, man, it's been a very fun challenge.
Yeah.
Because it's all in the messaging.
Yeah.
I could tell you not necessarily how wrong, but how backwards of a marketing strategy it would be in my mission if my brother and I went into this as, hey guys, we're two professional athletes.
Can you shout out your brother, man? Shout out your brother. Give your brother a shout out.
Of course, man. Yeah, like shout out to KB. Like he's, been professionally fought in the UFC.
Yeah.
He's fought in Abu Dhabi. He's fought around the world. He's a #1 Canadian ranked middleweight.
Yeah.
He's had over 15 fights.
Yeah.
Like he still actively is fighting
Yeah.
and is a coach. He's one of my biggest role models, right? So like
It's good stuff.
none of this through Brave could be without him. Like that's why it's so great that, to what I'm saying, we're pitching this on purpose as this is something you do with your family.
Yeah.
And I like to say, like, families that train together stay together, and it works. It it works, man.
Very true.
It's a beautiful, like, way of now seeing before my eyes. We've got couples coming in and training together. We got the mom and dad training together, the sons and the fathers, the brothers. And I love it. And that's me continuously doing our best, as well as my brother, to make this a family orientation, but that can't be done once again. If we were like, we're two professional athlete brothers, we're looking for the next best fighter. Who's ready, who wants to live a life like us. There'd be 10 people at our gym.
That's very true.
That's it. And that's not where we want to go. We can create fighters, no problem. We're excited for that. But the main reason is, let's get families in an environment where the mom can drop off her son for her martial arts class and go on the cardio machine and move her body at the same time. And then both can go home, and the mom's not stressed about going, what about my time for my workout? Or what about my time in general? She comes to Brave, is certain her kid's in good hands while she's getting her workout in. That's what I love, man. I want to be able to solve that problem. But the challenge now is the messaging across. Because I got 10 seconds max in my video, in my photo online. And that's the way we advertise now, to create some hook. And now I'm phasing it. And I don't know if people are paying attention to that, but there's a focus each month, each quarter, going into the fruition of Brave. And we grew out of our basement, man. We were in our basement in the start of 2023 with just one-on-one clients. We did this as a side hustle in the start of the global pandemic. Quit my day job 2023 February. Flash forward 11 months now, we managed, when the start of classes began in June, 6 months in, we're moving into a new space. And like, that's what I love, man, is just growth. And I hopefully you kind of see that through.
I've been watching, man. I've been watching. I just want to throw in a testimonial to all of what you just said, just to solidify how true it all is. I want to throw in a testimony, and I want to crank this up to another level, because I have two related systems I want to talk to you about, being the more experienced, I'm going to say expert, that you are. Now, my job is a physically demanding job, and I had to design a strategy just to go through the day, because sometimes I work 10-hour shifts, and there was a time when I was working 12-hour shift. No, I'm gonna tell the public where I'm working. But my strategy, Kenny, has been to do 3 sets of push-up every day before work, just to get me through the day. 3 sets of push-up, 3 sets of squats. That's it. 3 sets of push-up, 3 sets of squats. Because most of what I do involve walking, involve lifting. It's very active. And what I found, Kenny, is that you would be so shockingly surprised how much that works. Now, I said to you that I wanted us to take this to notch this up a few levels, because I want to ask you about 2 things. One, the heart. to the mind. I wonder if people know how important it is where your heart health is concerned. Because, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, like I said, you're more experienced. If the heart is not being worked, it is no different from your arm. It sags, it gets sloppy, it gets hard to lift. And so you lose that ability to be able to use your arm as active as you would normally. Kenny, is it any different with the heart?
Oh man, same thing. You have to.
Yeah.
You have to be pumping blood through your heart, man, in some way, shape, or form, right? That's the importance of working. You know, that's your cardiovascular health.
Yeah.
Right. By moving your body, you're getting the blood pumping through your whole self, right? And that's like from the physical standpoint, and from like more so of the physiological aspect of like, if your heart's not in the right place, like that's why I believe in, you got to do what you love.
And I mean, what plays in terms of where your gym is concerned? I just want you to emphasize a bit more why exercise and fitness is so important where the heart is concerned, and how much benefit you get from just that, using your gym for a few hours, or maybe just being consistent as time goes by.
Oh man, like the way I look at it is like, here's the thing.
Yeah.
If you are wanting to be aware of the importance of heart health and the benefits it's going to have on you living a longer life, when you come to Brave MMA, I like to frame it this way because I heard it recently and I wish I could give this person a shout out, but I've been using it lately. Is when you come into a gym environment, any gym environment for the most part, specifically Brave MMA, when you're learning a martial art, by the end of class, I could ask you a question.
Yeah.
And I could go, hey, Joel, did you think about anything else today?
Yeah.
When you were in here, did anything cross your mind of anything going on?
I probably would say no.
Exactly. And for the most part,
Yeah.
that is the beauty of going into an environment and moving your body and learning something brand new, as perhaps as challenging as jiu-jitsu or boxing or even Muay Thai, because you are so present in that moment that you can't even afford the ability of thinking of another thing, because then you're going to feel behind and not know what's going on. So when you relate that to heart health, I mean, when you're moving your body in a way where, you know, you're perspiring, your heart rate is going higher, right? You're now, you know, operating at perhaps a 70 to 90%, you know, heart rate max, you are pumping more blood through your entire body, right? And that is, you know, I'm no doctor, I'm not the best at offering the best scientific representation of the benefits to this, but I can tell you that the more you're doing that, the happier you're going to be, because, you know, you're allowing, you know, more dopamine to be secreted from your body, and as well, you feel good. And I find that, you know, I used to say this as a trainer every day, is you should to some degree sweat every day.
Yes, it's execution.
And when you're doing that, man, you're happier, you're feeling challenged, right? And I think that's what we need is, let's face it, fitness is a challenge, right? Look at the world we live in today. We're in a time now where if you and me have an Apple Watch, now if you add some sort of social element to it, it's that much more exciting. It's like, hey, let's do a challenge. Let's see who gets the most amount of steps this month. Right? So we're wired that way. So if you go into a fitness environment and you also have a little bit of a competitive aspect to you, it's exciting to go into a space and be like, okay, here I am now. Let's not let ego get in the way. Here's where I'm going to be if I keep showing up. And I think that's what a lot of people need to accept is when you walk into a Brave MMA and you do a jiu-jitsu class for the first time. Man, we don't sign up everybody. But I know the people that don't end up deciding to do it, they're maybe just a little bit too hard on themselves. And they say they want to be a black belt one day. They say they want to eventually pursue martial arts, but they can't get over the hump of feeling like they know nothing. Right? And that's what martial arts does. You go into an environment like that and you're like, wow, especially as someone older, you haven't felt that feeling of unknown in a while. But when you can like you can like accept that and absorb it and go, if I keep showing up, I'm gonna get
Push
better.
towards, yeah,
Man, like you're moving your body. It's so good for your brain as well, from what you talked about earlier. So I just think we know this, but we don't do it because ego is the enemy, you know. And there's a great book by, I think his name's Ryan Holiday. But if people look up that book, Ego is the Enemy, I read that once upon a time. And it was very true to the testament of how much our ego comes in the way of our progress.
Yeah. Ego and pride. Let me just tie those two together. Ego and pride. I'm about to sound very pessimistic right now, but there's a reason for it. Let me just, disclaimer. There's a reason for it. Prior to coming to Canada, I used to walk everywhere. You walk to the bus stop. You walk to your friend's place, you walk to the mall, you walk to the store, you walk everywhere. And so I was in way better shape than I am right now. But it took me some time to accept that, to just reflect on it. So in other words, what I'm getting at is, here in the beautiful country called Canada, still love it, might I say, you know, we jump in our cars, we go everywhere. We step out of our car, we go to our destiny. We literally make 10 steps, probably, if so much.
Yeah, we're looking for the nearest parking.
We go to the mall, we're looking for the closest parking to Sports Check. If you're going to TNT supermarket, if you're going to anywhere, you're going to park close to that point. You're going to jump out of your car, you're going to walk to your destination, maybe 10 steps. The same thing when you drive back home. You drive home, you drive into your garage. You make less than 10 steps to get in your house.
To sit again.
Now, Kenny and my listeners and whoever you are, wherever you are in the universe, is that doing you any good on a being fit and healthy point of view? Now, let me give you the answer. Hell no, it's not. It's not. And so the point I'm making, Kenny, again, disclaimer, I did say I was going to sound a bit pessimistic. It's not intentional, it's just to prove a point, right? If you do not take your health, your fitness, that is, if you do not make it a priority, you living in this beautiful country called Canada, you are gonna die quick. Am I lying, Kenny? You're gonna die quick because you're unhealthy. Your heart is not getting exercise. That is for those that don't work out, don't have a gym at home, don't go running, you know, don't play soccer, basketball. And I'm not talking about you guys, okay? So please don't, Joel, I play soccer. What are you talking about? No, you're good. You're good. But for the individuals who might not be mindful of this, Kenny, I'm not trying to sound mean here. I care about you. I care about your health, your well-being, and the works. And I'm not promoting Kenny's gym here. It's not paying me for anything. We're newfound friends, right? But I believe in a lot of the things that he talks about. I believe in what he's doing, his gym, his training, and so forth. And so because I want you guys to stick around as long as possible, to be there for your kids, be there for yourself. Exercise, fitness is super important because of this beautiful country called Canada. We're so comfortable, we're so happy, you know, we're so taken care of, but we want to enjoy it as long as possible. So with all the comfort and convenience that exists, please be mindful that this beautiful thing in your chest, I've become so fond of my heart. And there's a story behind that. We're not going to go there right now. I've become so fond of my heart, Kenny, that it tells me when I'm not doing good for myself, fitness-wise. When I don't work out, my chest aches. My heart beats a different rhythm, and I feel it. And maybe it has to do with age. Oh, you're getting old, buddy. Yes, baby. We're all getting old, right? But listen to your body and put emphasis in getting some steps in, getting some workout going, and possibly utilize the beautiful, newfound, self-discovered, profound gym called Brave MMA and Fitness that this guy here has just developed. And I just really wanted to highlight that, Kenny.
Thank you, brother.
How important it is where your health is concerned.
And I feel like, to your point about, like, if you're not moving and you're not capitalizing on that, you know, you talk about, like, you're quicker to die. And I find, like, you're quicker to have your soul die. You know, like let's face it, like you're still alive. You're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and you're feeling like something's missing and the energy's gone, right? All the energy supplements are taken away from the supplement store.
The pill.
But it's like what's missing is this active movement.
Yes.
You know, so I really appreciate you sharing that, man, and having me on. I think your level of your inquisitive nature to be curious to see how people operate is what makes one step a joy to be on. And I think there needs to be more of this. I think anyone out there, whether you want to publicize your conversations or not, I'm such a believer in be curious, ask people questions, and tap into your network of people within your sphere of control and people that aren't. And I think that's the beauty of quote unquote networking and community building is just not being afraid to ask what makes people tick. I see you doing that, man, and
I'm curious.
I'm very, very excited to continue to just see your journey unfold and continue to support one another's paths, man. So thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome,
man.
brother. You're welcome. Now, Kenny, let's get into MMA. Let me say this. It is one of my favorite sports. Okay? I might not take part, but I love watching. There's something about watching people defending themselves, using their arms, their legs, their body to do extraordinary things. As brutal as the sport is, it is brutal, might I say that, but it's an art, and I like watching it. Walk us through a day of MMA training, Kenny.
Yeah, of course. It's certainly not for everyone, and I know this is probably the last piece we'll cover before we got to get going. But, like MMA training, it's once again, it's multifaceted, right? You have to once again be able to study and know your craft, to the best of your ability. It's not just what you're doing on the mat. That's something that, Coach KB really preaches and lives by is, you want to talk about the biggest sacrifice is it's being an MMA fighter. You're putting everything on the line in there and you have no idea what the result will be. So training wise, you have to do your various trainings related to, work your grappling, work your stand up, work even more cardio than that, get your sparring in. And then from there, get stronger and work on your mobility. Like you can tell here, even with what I'm saying, like the list goes on and never ends with, how you approach your training, because you're wanting to make sure you're doing it in a way where you're getting better and more well-equipped technically, but then you're getting stronger and you're getting faster, and you're also working against any possible injuries that may occur along the way. And that's something that oftentimes we hear it, and it just sounds kind of like, oh, they'll get better. And it's for any athlete where it's like, so-and-so's injured and they're no longer to go on the ice. Or it's like, oh, so-and-so got pulled out of their fight because of XYZ injury. And it's kind of sad because a lot of people go, oh, what a wussy, they pulled out. It's like, no, like they actually got hurt in practice, and their management team is actually doing them a solid and going, we don't think it's smart for you to go into this fight. Because as a fighter has more fights, it's taking such a toll on them mentally and physically that you're always trying to get back to 100%. That's what you're chasing. But in reality, there's going to be some substantial injuries or some minor ones that you face along the way that you're still healing. And I see this, I live with this with my own brother. So preparation is something you're constantly working on as an MMA fighter. And that's what's unique, is if you want to be the best, there's never really this sense of, oh, you're in a fight camp. Like, yes, the camp 8 to 12 weeks out, training becomes more vigorous. But the ones that really want to go all the way and be the best are constantly working on their body the way a mechanic is working on a vehicle that is going on the raceway at 100 miles an hour every single lap. It needs to come back in between, go to the pit, readjust in order to go again. So you're constantly fine-tuning.
I like it. Kenny, how can we follow you for those that are watching?
Yeah, man. I mean, catch us at bravemma.fitness, right? That's the best way to see our journey unfold. So it's spelled brave MMA.fitness. So that's why, you know Joel did his homework when he calls it Brave. I love that. Some people go to me, they're like, man, I love Brave. And I'm like, you ain't listening if you're calling it Brave. But that's a whole other aside. But yeah, catch us on bravemma.fitness and Kenny Bhullar, BJJ on Instagram. I pretty much, just showcase a lot of the journey on Instagram, and if anyone wants to message and learn more about what we do, feel free to reach out to us, and we'd be very happy to connect.
My brother, I'm truly appreciative. I wonder if people know that I haven't even hit half of the stuff that I wanted to talk
I know, I'm so sorry.
I'm having so much fun and learning so much,
you
man.
Gotta do part 2 again.
But there has to be a part 2, Kenny, because this has been just mind-blowing.
Thank you, brother.
Truly appreciate you. Thank you for coming.
Likewise, man.
The show is called One Step. Let's talk about the journey. My name is Joel Bennett. We appreciate you for dropping by. We ask that you hit the like, help us to build this platform. I'm new to the environment, but I'm having a ton of fun. And I'm looking forward to what this journey brings. And I'm looking forward to doing more stuff with Kenny. And I'm sure he has a lot more, but he's a busy man. Him being here, it must be because he sees value. And I truly appreciate, I see value in you too, my brother. And I truly appreciate you coming by. Y'all take care, keep safe. Check out Kenny on his platforms. And if you want to, come into his studio too and, log in and get some training, some self-defense training. Thank you for dropping by. Y'all take care and bye.
Let's go. There it is, man. Thank you so much, bro. I really appreciate it. I didn't know how fast an hour would go by, man, but